I hadn't been seeing my partner too long before I wanted to tell her about testing. I think that it's something that's really in your mind, and for me, I kind of wanted just to sort of get it kind of out in the open, sort of out off the radar, and try to deal with it early, so that if it wasn't going to work out, that if she wasn't kind of happy with that information, that I didn't waste all this time in a relationship to find out that she wasn't going to stick around. So I think I told her about a month, 6 weeks into our relationship. I think before with girls that I dated before, because I was a bit younger and not so intense, that it didn't sort of really seem to matter either way. But I remember with my partner that I was really keen on her, that she was someone that I thought was really special. And so I must admit that I was much more anxious because I felt like there was more at stake. And I think that I was pretty convinced at the time that she wasn't going to like the information and that she would most likely leave. And so I was pretty concerned that it was going to be kind of ending something that was good before it got started. I ummed and ahed a lot and wasn't very clever in the way that I did it. We just went down to the beach we were having a walk, and I just started telling her about my family, and I'd already told her that my dad was sick, and she was aware of that, although she hadn't met him. But I then started by telling her about my dad, and then explaining about Huntington's, and then telling her about the fact that it's a genetic disease, and that I was also going to get Huntington's down the track. I think that it was really hard because, not knowing anything about HD at the time, I think she reacted in a really emotional way, and being obviously really concerned that it was probably more of like an immediate thing. Like, I think that she thought that almost like I had told her that I had 6 months to live, or I'd got cancer, or something like that. So she reacted in that sort of way, but it wasn't until later that I'd found out that once we went home that night and then she went back to her house, that she hopped on the internet and did a whole lot of reading about it, and that really shaped her opinion, because it relaxed her that, yes, this was really a big deal, but that it wasn't like a crisis that we had to cope with in the next 2 months. It was going to be something different. But I remember being really concerned about her meeting my dad, because that was the only example that she was going to get of HD, and he was in the reasonably late stages of HD at that time. And so for someone that's not sort of familiar with that, it's quite confronting. And so I felt like, even though I had told her about me being gene positive and about HD, that I still had a big hill to climb, or another big thing was that she had sort of had to have met my dad too, to kind of put all that into place. So I tried to arrange a time for her to come and visit him with me. And I think that was another big part of the telling process, because she had a reaction when I first told her, and then she sort of had a different reaction again after she'd done some more reading about HD, or that we talked about it more. But I think particularly after seeing my dad being so sick, that was really upsetting for her. And so it kind of went from being really emotional to kind of being a bit more pragmatic, because we'd sort of were looking at the information, and then it got really emotional again after she met my dad. Even after telling her, and we've been married for 7 or 8 years now, and that process is always continuing about the balance between believing that it's not going to happen or accepting that what does it mean. And I think with Huntington's it's really complicated because you have a modified or a different gene, and you are going to show some symptoms, and sometimes those symptoms can be really difficult, but you're kind of okay at that moment. You're okay and it's fine. And so from a relationship point of view, there's a really big question about how you have that relationship. What are the fundamentals that you do, because it's not like you have 6 months to live, so you quit your jobs and travel around the world and do some fun stuff. You have to kind of work out how to have like a sort of a normal relationship, because you're going to have 10 or 20, maybe 30, 40 years worth of just normal. But then also you're kind of dealing with the fact that because you don't know when it starts, that you might not have that time, and so you're trying to work out how to make that relationship special so that you can enjoy it every day for what it is and not kind of leave anything out. So that takes a continuous adjustment all the time, and a lot of the time, or occasionally, one of us will drift outside. Often it's me when I get a bit freaked out about I think I might be showing symptoms, or that you kind of have to work out a way to come back to a sort of a normal, if there's any such thing as normal place, and that can be really hard and take time. But I think the important thing for the relationship is to have a really open and clear communication, that if you're feeling that something's on your mind, that you have to talk about it. You can't, not in trying to pretend that you're protecting someone, or that you think you don't want to hurt them by saying something maybe that's on your mind. You have to have brutal honesty, and I think that's why our relationship works well, because we just put it all out there, and even if that is normal or crazy thoughts, it at least is out there, and once it's out there, we can kind of work out how to wade through it and find a nice place for us to sit for now.